I was reading yesterday's newspaper. I do that pretty religiously, and on the funny page, the comics, Dennis the Menace. I thought, man, this really fits us. Oh, Dennis comes over to Grandpa. He says, "Grandpa, tell me one of those stories you've told me hundreds of times." Aren't you glad you come to Calvary and hear those stories hundreds of times? Did I tell you about the time that we knelt by the... No. Oh. Hey, we do series around here a lot. A year ago at this time, we were doing the 23rd Psalm series, and then we did the series on heaven, and then we did a series on the Bible in the summertime, and our journey through James, and today we begin a series. We begin a series that we call it Finished by Faith. And because 3 years ago we did Forward by Faith and a great campaign. Now we're starting another campaign called Finished by Faith. It actually kicks off next Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. We said, wow, that'd be a good Sunday just to kick off, So next Sunday's kickoff. And but I couldn't wait. And so I'm starting it today. And I want to talk to you today about tithing, about giving, and so if you didn't get an outline, hold up your hand, and we'll get you one. Ushers will hand you I want to talk to you about something that will really change your life, and this is really special. It'll have a great impact on your life. I hold in my hand a letter written August 17th, 1944, 66 years ago. My dad was 25 years old. World War II was raging, and he was a day from boarding a ship, a tanker with high-octane fuel on it, and to go out to sea. And he wrote this letter to my mother, and he passed on to me a great, great habit and a great heritage, and I so much want to pass it on to you. I so much want you to catch this today. That's why I hope these next 5 Sundays that you will be in church, because we're going to talk about the key to living, and the key to living is giving, and giving is something we must learn. We don't naturally give. I naturally like to get, don't you? Rake it in, Get all you can all you get, sit on the lid, I like to get. That's my nature. But God says, Carl, I want you to learn to give. I want you to learn to give. It's something we must learn. But the key to living is giving. It really is. And, if you'll come these next 5 Sundays, I think they'll change your life. Plus, you'll get to hear all my jokes about money. Yeah? Great, great biblical truths, Did I tell you the one about... I did, didn't I? Well, that's all right. It bears repeating. My jokes are so good. They're like my stories. You need to hear them again and again. There were 3 boys that were bragging on their daddy. And one boy said, yeah, my daddy's a doctor, and he performs a surgery, and in 1 hour he makes $5,000. And the next boy, he wasn't going to be outdone. He said, that's no big deal. He said, my daddy's an attorney. He said, he can argue a case in 30 minutes, and he gets paid $10,000. And the third boy, he wasn't going to be outdone, that's for sure. And he said, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. He said, my daddy's a preacher. He gets up and talks for 30 minutes, and it takes 8 men to carry out the money. Yes, sir. I'll tell you what. God gave us a way to put Him first in our lives, to show Him that we put Him first. It's a very practical way, and I'm going to talk to you about it today. And if you would catch this today, I'm telling you, it would make an incredible impact on your life. But 60-some years ago, my dad wrote this letter to my mother. We have 3 letters that he wrote during World War II. I mean, he wrote more than that, but we just have these 3. And, of course, we keep them, under lock and key and treasure them. And I won't read it all to you by any stretch because, it's very personal. He's telling Mom how much he loves her and kiss the babies, my 3 sisters, Martha. She's 5 years older than me, and Mary and Marlene, the twins, 3 years older than me. Mom had 3 babies in diapers all at one time, and Dad gone off on a ship for a couple of years. And but here's in part what he says: "Dearest and baby darlings," and he says, "Just a few hours ago, I wired you $130. I'm praying that will hold you until you begin to receive the allotment pay. And, honey, I'm signed on a tanker by the name of Cedar Mills." And he describes it and so forth. And I have $8 in my possession, but that's enough. This is Thursday night, about 10 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, I go to sign on the ship at the pier. And tomorrow the ship leaves around noon. And then up here in the corner, he wrote a little note to Mom. And he didn't put a P.S. on it, but it's like a P.S. He says, "Take the Lord's money out of this, honey." And then he figured it up for her. $13 it would be, he says. $13. He sent her $130. He said, "Take the Lord's money out." I have such a rich heritage. It's just an incredible heritage I have. I have parents who didn't leave me $1 million or anything like that. My dad left me a pickup truck, but they left me an incredible heritage in the fact that as a boy growing up, I knew that my mother and dad always tithed. I knew that, and they didn't talk about it that much, but it's just something you knew. And I remember when I got my first job as a paper boy, delivering papers, came home with my first little check and thought it was all mine, and was explained that it wasn't all mine. But that was a great thing to learn, to put God first. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. When you say, "Well, Pastor Carl, is stewardship, is that just learning to tithe? Is that learning that the 10% is God, the first?" Not at all. Not at all. In fact, stewardship is learning that everything is God's. I want to show you some verses. Look at this. I think you have it on your outline. Psalm 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and all it contains, the world and those who dwell in it. Wow. It's all God's, isn't it? Look at the next one. The heavens are yours, the earth also is yours, the world and all it contains. You have founded them. It's all God's. For all the earth is mine, God says. The silver is mine, the gold is mine, declares the Lord of hosts. Wow. Look at what he says to Job. Who has given to me that I should repay him, declares the Lord of hosts. And then you know the story of Job. You read that, haven't you? How Job was so incredibly blessed of God and incredibly wealthy man, and he lost all his wealth, all his possessions, lost his wealth, he lost his family, he lost his health, and look what he did. The Bible says, Job said, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Through all this, Job did not sin, nor did he blame God. Wow, isn't that amazing? Job lost everything, and he didn't get angry at God. Do you know why? Job was going to a Bible preaching church, and they had a stewardship campaign, and they had explained to Job, everything belongs to God. You see, I say my house, my car, my kids, my wife. And you know what? None of it's mine.